Hello, vinyl community. Today I wanted to feature a record and then maybe have a little brief conversation about the nature of a term that I think we all use quite a bit, and one that I remember hearing from a very, when I first started reading about music, we used to have a publication here in Detroit called Cream Magazine. I think most people have probably heard of it. I used to pick those up at the newsstand. My dad would buy them for me when we went to the local store, and I would just eat those up. It was my only way, here as like maybe 12-year-old, 11, 12 years old, and I would just eat those up because there wasn't any other music news. There was that, and there was the radio. And that's all you heard about. And Cream had their, unique take on music. And I remember reading about this term that I would hear them use called, psychedelic rock or psychedelic music. And I remember the image that I got in my head when I saw that word, psychedelic. And I had this image in my head of just a explosion of sound and color, like a color explosion going off, and I wondered what was this. I was excited by what is this? What is this music? I've heard of punk rock, and I've heard of I heard all the and here was this term psychedelic rock, and I wanted to know what it was, and I remember the profound disappointment I had when, and this is a story of a guy playing some music for me, and I had said, I don't even know what psychedelic rock is. I don't even know what that is. And he said, and he put on some music, and it just happened to be, it was a live recording of Jefferson Airplane. And if you like Jefferson Airplane, this is not a negative against them. It's just a comparison for what was in my head of what psychedelic rock was going to sound like. And then he put this live track on, and I remember it went on for a while, and there was mostly instrumental. That's what I remember about it, and lots of guitar. I would describe it as kind of guitar noodling. And I remember being so profoundly disappointed that is what psychedelic was. And it was so different than what I had. And I know that, this is just one example, and there were other much better examples that could have been given to me, but that's what I heard. And it wasn't until later, I remember hearing Hawkwind for the very first time, and I thought to myself, this is what I thought psychedelic rock was going to be. It had that explosion that I was thinking of. I was thinking of something much more aggressive, something much more driven, and Hawkwind had the sound that I was really thinking of. And we tend to describe Hawkwind as like space rock. Well, a band that kind of, to just follow up on it with my record here, it's an album called, the album is called The Exalted King, and the band is the Cosmic Dead. Great album, came out in 2012. Band originated from, I think, 2010, Scotland, and went on to record, I think, 7 or 8 albums. And I've heard, I think, a majority of them, and they're all worthwhile in their own way. I think that this record, and this is the only one I have in my collection, that this is a really special record. And it takes that psychedelic sound that I had in my head as a young teenager and adds into it elements of electronic, of dub, and even Middle Eastern and ambient and tribal, and pulls all those different sounds together in a very seamless way. Even adding, elements of like avant-garde at points, and, taking that drone sound and sound experiments that, you might not expect it to go into. It's an amazing journey of a record. And if you're not familiar with it, and I haven't heard that many people, and that's kind of why I wanted to mention it, was because I haven't heard that many people talk about it. And if you want an example of what psychedelic can be within the context of rock music, and psychedelic can go in a lot of other places, but within the context of the rock category, for the most part, this stays in there. This is a really, really amazing and special record, and I think it has a lot of emotional depth because there are parts of it that are creepy and eerie and paranoid and suffocating almost, and then there are parts of it that are bold and even beautiful and emotional, and they take you through the course of 4 sides. They take you on an amazing sonic journey and in a really special record that flows together in a way that I've heard very, very few albums that can maintain the quality and the cohesion that they find here. It's on a Cosmic Eye label, but I just wanted to do a brief one on it and say that this is a special record that you may want to look into, and also that idea, I don't know if other people had that same experience of being disappointed over the term psychedelic rock until you had a chance to maybe hear a little bit more. And it's a good example of how maybe the Western rock press limits our our understanding of what these terms could be. Because I remember hearing, for example, music from that was kind of non-Western music, like for example like Turkish psych or even Turkish arabesque that to me sounded much more psychedelic than some of the bands that were kind of sold to us as a representative of what that term could mean and did mean. And that was just, that was kind of mainstream music from outside the United States that was incorporating this psychedelic aspect of things. And that's not just true, it's true all over. You can hear some, really mainstream Egyptian music that is incorporating elements of psychedelic. And to me, that's, you hear that in the Western context and it sounds, it's great and it sounds mind-blowing and it's wonderful. And this is a music that's used all the time, all around the world. So it's not exclusive to the West. We didn't invent it, and nobody should try to capture it. It is for the human family, and it is. So anyway, Cosmic Dead, Exalted King, great record. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to show was, I don't usually show colored vinyl, but I always thought that was a nice shade of blue on the record. And while I'm at it, so I was in my local the other day and they had some new, not new, but new used 45 RPMs out, and I grabbed this. This came out in 2015, and it's from the, if you're not familiar with Wolf Eyes was it's a Detroit noise band, or not noise rock, and they did one album on the Third Man label, and this is a single that they released from it. Wolf Eyes has done dozens and dozens of records, and they're all interesting and very, very experimental, getting into sound textures, and really fascinating band. And if you haven't checked them out, highly suggest you do. But this little single has on the B side of it a song that's not on the album, and but the A side of it, this Enemy Ladder, there's a really wild video for it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I won't even begin to be able to describe it, other than to say that maybe if you're into hunting, you'll rethink your position there. But it's an interesting single, and I would say it's re-listening to it, it's really one of the most aggressive tracks that I've ever heard. And so check it out if you're not familiar with Wolf Eyes. Great, interesting noise rock band from Detroit area. So, all right, thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. Thanks.